The Scar Essence mine. This post came out about 24 hours ago, guys, and I have intentionally avoided reading it, avoided conversation, watching like the Sebe videos on it, because I want to go through it now on stream and give my thoughts on it. People seem to be either up for it or against it, but I don't really understand what's going on. So I'm going to read it now, see what happens, and give my hot take, which is often the correct take, the correct take too. You're Aussie, you surf. I don't surf, no. Being Australian doesn't mean that you surf, okay? Not everything is Bondi. That's just immigrants trying to swim into the country, basically. Anyways, the Scar Essence mine. The humble blood rune. Yep, a sought-after catalytic rune whose consumption allows the casting of ancient magics, the swooshing of the sun. Who the fuck wrote this? And whatever word begins with S suits the Sanguinesti staff. The blood rune has a whole host of fun uses, but in recent years has come under fire from players for just how tedious it can be to accumulate enough of these magical stones. I would say that over the years it's become more and more common. I guess it's become easier to get blood runes, right? You have Zaya Runecrafting, then you had the diary affecting Zaya Runecrafting, then you have blood essence come from Next. TOA drops it now as well, and now you have the true blood altar, you have Guardians of the Rift. I would say blood runes are in a pretty good state, but go on. Currently most players try and upkeep their Scythe or Sang stuff, opt to buy them from the Grand Exchange, magic shops, competing with other, buy them from the Grand Exchange magic shops. That's one, okay. Competing with each other as they hop through worlds in a desperate bid to stock up enough for future PVM sessions. While so-called shopscape is the done thing, shopping and hopping isn't exactly the most riveting content. To be honest, I, as someone who's deep into the endgame Ironman, I've got the number one, well, I'm part of the number one group Ironman team, 5-man prestige. Making blood runes is infinitely better than shopscape and is really good. So I'm not a fan of shopscape myself. I think people that shopscape for blood runes, who one of my teammates does actively, I think that's a huge waste of money. Blood runes are way too expensive to be doing that. It is absolutely not worth it. But I know that JMods don't like shopscape, so we'll continue. For a while, we've seen effective players suggest the addition of rune packs for some of the runes that don't currently have them, like Blood, Death, Soul, and even Astral. I think that's fair. While we agree this would likely alleviate some of the frustration with upkeeping some of the runes, you'd still be competing with others, hopping through worlds and spending more time in a shop interface than out in Gilmore. Who cares? Right? People just want to do endgame content. People just want to raid. People just want to swing the Scythe and use the same stuff. You've made really good endgame content. You've made really powerful endgame weapons. They want to do the shopscape because they don't want to skill. Because they don't want to waste their time. Because people that have limited time have the mindset that they may as well maximize the amount of time they have to play RuneScape. So they just want to buy runes and send it. I think that's totally justified. That is fine. So I don't see anything wrong with the rune packs at all, to be honest. I wouldn't buy them personally. I'd buy the Death. That's it. I'd buy Death runes, and Astral's obviously cheap. Soul and Blood I wouldn't buy because I don't mind AFKing. But also I'm someone who has... I mean, I play RuneScape for a living, so I have 24/7 to do that shit. Some people don't. No spoilers, but keep in mind this is exclusive in Ironman update. It doesn't look like it so far. We think we could do better than blood rune packs. After all, we have a whole skill dedicated to crafting runes. Why don't we leverage that, which we have been for the past few years? We've done similar in the past with Drew's Sandstone Grinder, which gave players an option to use mining to cut down on shopping and hopping for sand. I didn't even know you could buy sand. Oh yeah, from the charters, yeah. Ultimately getting the item thereafter while being out in the world so long as they have the GP to afford Drew's service. To that end, we've set out to make something with the following goals in mind. To be honest, like instead of hopping and shopping for sandstone, all you're doing is you're spending countless hours in the desert, right? Because I just did 50,000 buckets of sand. That took me like 3 weeks of AFKing in the desert. That wasn't really riveting content either, to be honest. Like the argument here is that shopping and hopping isn't riveting content. Neither is fucking mining sand. Let's cut the bullshit. So that's not necessarily a fix. It's just more fucking annoying to be able to get the crafting level. I'd rather have done it, to be honest, than shopping and hopping, because shopping and hopping is annoying as fuck and expensive. But still, it's just that it's not really. It's no better. It's still annoying and it's still slow. So anyways, the goals of Mind are to allow players to obtain blood runes extremely quick. As a bonus, expand the system to runes beyond blood runes while making sure all of the above goals still apply. It sounds like they're using blood runes here as the prime example to make people be on board with the update, right? Like, oh, blood runes, yeah, I'd love blood runes for my Siphon saying stuff. If it was maybe Death or Wrath, they could probably work too, but if it was Soul, Chaos, Nature, you guys wouldn't give a fuck. You'd be like, why the hell do we need this? The blood rune argument is the strongest argument Jagex has. And it's smart they put it in here as their prime example because that's the case, alright? That's the point. So, it's just worth keeping that in mind. Avoid impacting the economy for any non-Ironman players, okay? Players should be financially disincentivized from engaging with this content if their aim is to sell the runes on, okay? Ensure the gameplay is thematically tied to runecraft. Ensure the gameplay loop itself is quick, intuitive, and easy to access. With all those above in mind, let's introduce the star of today's show. Ventriculus, the abyssal extractor. Okay, so the name might be a bit of a mouthful, it is, but the aims can be simpler. Ventriculus is a part of our design to give players a fast way to get runes, any kind, not just blood runes. That's tied to gameplay and integrated with the runecraft skill, without adversely impacting the main game economy. I think bloods going down in price would make Sangs and Sights go up in price because more people would want to own them because the upkeep would be less expensive. It's kind of hard to justify that because the expensive part of the Scythe is more the Vial of Blood than the Blood Runes, right? I guess it does delete Blood Runes quick, but the Vial of Bloods would probably just go up in price to counterbalance it more than anything. I would assume so. And as for the Sang stuff, it's really hard to tell these days because the meta is Shadow. So, but if you can't afford a Shadow, then it doesn't really matter. But at the end of the day, the opinion is the price of items is determined by opinion, not fact, right? So, the opinion that the Shadow is better than the Sang is just going to keep the Sang pretty much where it is. It might drop a little, but I doubt it. I don't think so. Not while Tob isn't really being farmed. Runecraft has too many updates in the past few years. Was once a decent skilling method to make a bit of money that's getting killed off. I don't think so. How much, like the best way to make money runecrafting is still double nats, right? Or one of them at least. I don't think Runecraft has had too many updates. Runecraft's done nothing but get improved over the past few years. It's infinitely better than it used to be. It's fucking awesome. But who the hell does runecrafting for money? 1.8 per hour with Wrath runes, is it? That's fucking awesome. That's excellent. But Wrath runes are worth hierarching now, right? If you can buy, you can profit by hierarching Wrath runes, I think, or you could at one point. So that's just worth keeping in mind as well. Before we get started, you might be wondering where we'd even put the extractor, given that somebody would likely have noticed something so unusual by now. As luck has it, you have some of you have recently uncovered a new area with strong ties to runecrafting, the Scar, which is where the what's his name, the Leviathan is, near the Guardians of the Rift. Note that access to the abyssal extractor will require at least partial completion of Desert Treasure 2 to get to the Scar. Okay, access via the rift near the Temple of Eye, which you might be familiar with, yet whatever. The Scar has a habit of sucking in leftover runes and essence from careless adventurers who keep dropping the things. Inside the Scar, these leftovers move through tissues, sinew, and synapses, resulting in our amalgamation. What the fuck? What essence of flesh that defy the laws of nature? The abyss itself grows around these amalgamations. So you need to spot a manual labor to split them apart and extract anything useful. That's where mining comes in and our proposal gameplay loop begins. Alright, so let's see the scene, the very high-tech flowchart. Yes. Tainted essence. What the fuck is tainted essence? To the extractor. Okay, so how do you get tainted essence? I didn't read anything about tainted essence. So you get tainted essence, I'm assuming. You put it into the extractor. You can either get pure essence from it or choose a type of rune, pay GP, and then you get the rune. Make the extracts. Choose a type, and then you get the extract. Okay. Essence of taint. Right, but yeah, who's taint? I'd like to see Dungeoneering and OSRS thoughts. I think you're an idiot. That's my thoughts. With a little mining expertise, level 66 to be precise, a pickaxe, a lot of putting your back into it, you'll be able to mine tainted essence. These are the grotesque mixtures of runes, essence, and flesh that we mentioned earlier. Okay, from here you have two options. We'll start with the most interesting bit, making extracts. Alright, by removing the wrong runic energy and compressing what's left, the extractor can provide you with extracts that are bound to specific types of runic energy. They're stackable. They function as catalytics while rune crafting, allowing you to craft significant bonus quantities of the rune they correspond to. Excuse me. Alright, spotted mining is eventually in eventual exchange for huge quantities of extra runes. Sounds like a pretty good deal. So what's the catch? The catch is Jagex, a member of ZMI's, who wound up lost in the abyss, is now, to put it bluntly, utterly unhinged. Yeah, okay, his heart is set on returning from his adventure with loot worth losing his mind for. He knows the ventriculus better than anybody, and he'll let you use it, you guessed it, for a price, of course. We'll cover the extract costs later on in the blog, but for now, keep in mind that the extracts don't come free. There's even a handy coffer nearby where you can store your coins so you don't have to grab them. Of course, that makes sense. Alternatively, you can clean your tainted essence and stack them up large quantities of pure essence, approximately 10,000 pure essence per hour, which sounds unnecessary. Jagex appreciates that many of you out there groan at the sight of pure essence following a showdown with the Great Olm, or that some of you even leave behind the pure essence that Zora so graciously provides to be consumed by the toxic waste. Obtaining pure essence in this way won't cost you anything. Jagex knows you'll be more than willing to part with your GP once you process that essence into extracts. He's playing the long game. Okay, so you use the tainted essence to make extracts, which is what you mine, correct? You mine the tainted essence. They're a greatest mixture of essence, flesh that we mentioned, and you have two options. You can make extract. Okay, so you mine the essence to make extract, which serve as powerful catalytic or catalyst, for green crafting. Okay, tainted essence. It's like the blood of the head of a blood veld. And then you turn it into extracts, which is warped, twisted, mangled, or sacred. Okay. And then you put it in the fleshlight, and then it makes a thing. Okay, an amalgamation. All right. Scarred. Oh, it says scarred. Sorry, I thought it said sacred. My bad. Sorry. Seem fine, you start the runecraft, of course. A turd? Essentially, yeah. I'm assuming it's similar idea to Dow Essence as a concept. Well, not really. I don't think. I'm not entirely sure. There's 4 variants of these extracts. Warped, can I mute that? Holy shit. Warped, twisted, mangled, and sacred. Scarred, with different variants cataclysing into different groups of runes so that every type of rune in the game can be multiplied using one of these extracts. Crafting runes with the corresponding extract in your inventory will multiply the amount of runes you make when using any essence, rune, pure, or day-out to runecraft. Note that the extract's catalytic effects won't work at the altar. They'll only work for specifically targeted runes. So you still have to go to an altar to use them. It's a pretty simple system to understand. So let's get stuck into nitty-gritty and answer the big questions. Okay, so just so I understand, guys, you go to the place, you go to the scar, you mine tainted essence, and then you stick the tainted essence inside the flashlight, and then it shits out the extract that you want. You ever get pure essence for free or extracts for a price? Right, because no one's going to choose pure essence, right? Let's be fucking real. So that's dead content before it's even released. But you put the essence in, and then you want extracts. It'll push extracts out, and you can choose which extract you want, right? Choose the type, pay the GP, get the extract. Pretty simple. Just like mining sand, put it in the sand, and then you give them the buckets, and you get the bucket of sand. Okay. Okay, I get it. Tainted essence in, extract out. All right. Balancing. Before we get stuck in the numbers, let's make it clear that we're against what we're up against. Sorry. In the perfect world, the players would have been asking us for blood rune packs for all this time. Could, in theory, obtain 100,000 blood runes per hour at current rates. This isn't entirely realistic due to delays when world hopping, finding the NPC to trade with again, competing with other players, also buying the same rune as you. But it's a solid ballpark. All right. With that in mind, runecraft with extracts obtained from the Sky Essence mine needs to result in a hefty number of runes while remaining expensive enough for players would incur a net loss by selling the runes to each other, thus pricing these bonus runes out of the wider economy. Okay. So you don't want it to be for profit, you want it to be for practicality. Makes sense. It doesn't really make sense to put something like this together for only blood runes. Players can, at times, need a vast quantities of all kinds of runes, like astrals, for example, and souls and chaos. And, well, chaos kind of comes from everywhere, doesn't it? But natures, cosmics, laws. We've aimed to put together a system that applies to every rune and at a price point that makes sense for each of them. While the main problem we're trying to solve here is the sheer amount of time spent upkeeping weapons like the scythe and sang stuff for some endgame players, by expanding extracts to all type of runes, you'll be able to put your skills to use. Save some time gathering chaos runes to sell for Tockle. I'd imagine if you're at this point in the game doing Desert Treasure 2, you probably got enough fucking chaos runes to Tockle. Or perhaps even stock up on a whole bunch of Trident charges earlier on in the game. Yeah. I think by the time you're at Desert Treasure 2, I don't imagine these really problems that you're having, but sure. Make skilling pointless for irons. This does, I don't think so. You're still going to have the blood rune crafting level to make blood runes, right? You still need 90 to make soul runes. You can't just pull soul runes out of here, right? You're going to need the rune crafting level still. The prices for extracts are all based on current existing shop prices, okay? With exceptions of Wrath runes and combination runes, since these aren't sold for GP. Though we've aimed to ensure the cost of rune for each of these types remains higher than their well-established values in the GE. Okay. How's the sky going to ruin the prices? Well, that's what we're trying to find out. To explain how the 4 types of extracts are going to work and tie into this, here's a handy table. Alright. So if you have a mangled extract, which is 12,000 GP, 200 GP per rune, and you get 60 bonus runes per essence. Oh no, sorry. 12,000 GP. That's meant to be 24,000 GP, right? Not 24.0 GP. That's correct, right? That's a typo. Hopefully. So is this one extract is 60 runes? Is that what that's telling me here? If I have a mangled extract, I will get one mangled extract will be 60 death runes, for example. Is that correct? Will this inadvertently ruin the price of blood rune powered weapons? No, it shouldn't do. Okay, so what's the price of a blood rune? Let's go death rune. Death rune on the Grand Exchange right now, not in deadman mode. Let me turn off deadman mode real quick when it loads. Okay. So a death rune. What the fuck? Holy shit. Death runes are currently 90 GP each. God damn, that's cheap. So you got 90 times 60. So this is going to cost you almost over twice as much to get a death rune. Right? Your death runes are going to cost you over double using this at the moment. And Astral, Law, and Nature are all cheaper than death runes, right? Death rune's got to be the most expensive out of those. What about blood rune? Blood rune is currently 195. 195 times 60. Is that correct? So you're basically playing double the price at the moment. It's 400 GP per rune. Good money sink then? Well, no, it's not a good money sink because let's be fucking real. You're not going to do this on a main because it's not worth the money. Unless the XP you get from it is like mind-boggling. Like you need, like if you get really good runecrafting XP from it, that it's worth the trade-off, sure. But otherwise, it is not likely people are going to do this on mains. Absolutely not. Everyone's too greedy. All people want to think about is the most like cost-effective way to play the game, right? Is it only meant for Iron Man? Well, you could argue that, yes. After maxing with Shadow, I find I need Chaos Runes, and soon I will need Soul Runes when I run out of the 400k I rune crafted. I'm still sitting on 200, 400k bloods, but also I don't have a Sang or Scythe. Well, yeah, that's why you got so many bloods. No one will do it on the main because it's an Iron update. Well, yes. Who wants to pay 2 times the price? Well, that's the point, right? Like, no, main accounts don't do buckets of sand, do they? They don't mind sand. So, this is not going to be used, in my opinion, so far from what I've read, not going to be used by main accounts. It's purely for Iron Man, right? Is that a bad thing? No one talks about getting Wrath Runes at lower levels. Wrath Runes at 95 runecrafting. That's normal, right? What, you want it to be lower than that? Wrath Runes are the highest level cataclysmic rune in the game. You want them to be lower than Blood and Soul? Why do people say that Blood Runes would never go under shop price if Death Runes are at half the shop price right now? Because people don't have brains. To get an Onyx, it's 28k. I have all 4 pieces, so 28k times 4 is a lot of GP. Yep. Can't you buy them with this? Well, you need to be able to make the Wrath runes. You still need the runecrafting level to make it. You would still need 95 runecrafting, right? Like you can't. You from what I've read, you still have to take. You still have to go to the altar and make the runes, right? You just take the extract to the altar, right? You don't just fucking left click it in your inventory and you get the runes. Is that correct? So you spend, and it's stackable. So you spend like 10 hours here in the ventriculus or whatever, the scar, and you stack up like say you stack up 100 scarred essence, then you go to the blood altar, and then you get 6,000 blood runes. Time and numbers vary, obviously, but they're stackable, so you just stack the fuck out of them, and then you just go one click, and you just get all the essence in one go. Timescales described later, there you go. But that's correct, that's the general idea, right? Isn't Iron Man just homeless simulator? No, Iron Man's a better way to play the game. That's a fact, regardless. So it sounds like a really fucking good way to make runes, but it just sounds super expensive that main accounts are never going to do it, right? Because the same reason main accounts don't mine sand, which was their example that they used. Get extracts, runecraft. Okay, so it sounds like a way better way to do runecrafting, if I'm honest with you. Secret blood runes is an example. Obtaining a scarred extract from the extractor would set you back 24k, assuming you have no other bonuses, no blood essence, no raiments of the eye. Using one pure essence on the blood altar while having a scarred extract in your inventory. Oh, you need to have the pure essence too. Okay, we'll give you 61 blood runes in total. Okay, if you had 27 pure essence and 27 sacred extracts, sorry, scarred extracts, you wind up with 1647. So is it one extract per essence? Okay. That sounds expensive still. Hold on. It's what one extract per essence. So you do 27 extracts at a time. Okay, that's not too bad. And that's guaranteed 60. But what? Blood runes are 400 GP in the shop. Correct? That's what that means, right? Value, 400 coins. That's the shop price, yeah? Fuck, blood runes are everywhere in this game. 400 to 560, and it only goes up. So it's actually more profitable to do this. This is infinitely better than shopscape, because that's the shop price of blood runes. So that's better, right? Because if you buy, as soon as you buy a blood rune, it goes to 404 GP, 408, 412 or whatever, or 412. So pricey. In comparison to buying from the shop, that is infinitely better. You are getting better value. So that's cool. It is cheaper for Iron Man, yeah, okay. But you still have to put in the work, obviously. Do you get the XP for every... So if I do an extract and I get 60 blood runes from one extract, do I get the XP for 60 blood runes? Or is it per essence or per extract? Or per rune crafted? Because normally it's per essence you craft, right? You still get normal XP, right? But is that just one extract is one XP drop, or is it 20? Is it for 60 runes that you get the XP for? Normal XP because the XP is per essence. Yeah. No way you get the experience. You'd hit blood rune rates at 250k now. Okay, so you wouldn't get the bonus XP. Sorry, it'd be just like per extract. Yeah. One essence, one XP. Yeah. So the extract. Blood rune's 250k now. Yeah, no, it wouldn't be the case then. It'd be just one extract as if it was one essence. Keep that example in mind, it's pretty close. It's pretty easy to imagine how quickly you'd be able to stack up runes using extracts, assuming you have the GP to obtain enough extracts in the first place. Now these bonus runes are applied additively, meaning the bonuses you get from are on top of the modifiers, like remnants of the eye, passive effect, or blood essence. They're applied additively. Sorry. So blood essence and remnants of the eye doesn't affect it. Correct? Extracts of pure essence with a multiplier. I believe so. But just so I'm understanding that means that it does affect it. That's base. Okay. The outfit does affect it. Okay. Alright, cool. We reckon players will be able to obtain roughly 25,000 extract per hour. Whoa. Assuming they have the cash to afford all that. With these 25,000 extracts, we anticipate the speedy players using the so-called True Blood Altar could expect to craft somewhere in the region of 200,000, 250,000 blood runes an hour. depending on other factors like the use of the giant and colossal pouches or how quickly they're able to complete runs. While things like the randomness of the eye blood essence do increase the number of blood runes a player might obtain, the difference is relatively low since these bonus stacks additively. The bonuses stack additively. Right. So I said the multiplier is essentially 2.1 times the blood essence full outfit. Okay. It's the opposite of doubt, except you get extra runes instead of XP. Yeah. Making 25,000 sacred essence would cost you 600 mil. Some of these blood runes onto other players would result in you losing roughly half the GP you spent to make the runes in the first place. This is how we keep the vast quantities of runes from entering the main economy. You're free to sell them if you'd like, but you'll wind up losing absolutely massive quantities of GP to do so, and nobody enjoys losing huge quantities of GP for no reason. That's true. People don't. Alright. Extracts aren't exclusive to blood runes. Yeah, we've heard that 1,000 times. Yep, of course. Looking to stock up fire runes and never have to worry about your swamp or the trident again. Fire runes are so easy to buy though. I wouldn't waste my fucking time. Fire runes are super easy to buy and super cheap. Wait, fuck doing fire runes or elemental runes. Other methods like abyssal runecrafting will result in somewhere ranging from 150,000 to 200,000. Wait, you'll be able to do 1.5 mil to 2 mil elemental runes an hour? I don't think that's worth it still, because you still got to fucking mine the shit. Because there's this way is faster if you're low. The thing is, I don't think elemental runes are that hard to come by, right? If you're low, like with 50k, you can buy enough fire runes to charge your trident, right? Not fully, but enough to fucking use it. Iron should not be allowed to play group content with other people, therefore no Tob, no Scythe, no problem. Okay. They essentially want to kill shopscape, which is good. I don't think shopscape matters, do you? What you have to remember is a lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time, the way Iron Man play the game doesn't really affect the main game economy, right? A lot of the time. So shopscape doesn't really fucking matter, does it? Like, you see Iron Man shopscape and you're like, Iron Man shouldn't be doing that. Does it really fucking affect you? Scope shape is trash, but what does that do for you and your main account? How does it affect you? If you can runecraft your own runes faster than shopscape, that's fine. I don't mind runecrafting my own runes. I'm all for runecrafting my own runes, absolutely. But sometimes I just want to buy death runes so I can go straight back into a raid. I don't care. I just think it's good quality of life for irons. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just think a lot of people have a problem with Iron Man updates because it affects them mentally. It's bad design. I don't think it matters. But as much as a homeless guy digging through a dumpster IRL affects me, yeah. Also, as players love dictating how other people play. That's why. That's just online gaming. While these are some very rough napkin math figures, your specific mileage may vary slightly. Ultimately, what we're trying to drive home is that extracts will allow you to obtain vast quantities of your chosen rune, assuming you're able to pay vast quantities of GP to extract extracts. To be honest, I would do this, right? Because if I'm going to AFK and play PUBG or Texas Chainsaw Massacre or edit videos, I would have no problem doing this all day. But if I want to, say for example, load up a raid right now, if I want to go to Barrows, and I've only got 1,000 death runes, I'm probably going to go buy 2,000 death runes real quick from the shop. I know I'm going to profit at Barrows, but I might just go buy a couple thousand real quick. So I've got options, whether I want to get straight into content right now, or whether I want to make essence on the side. Long term, it's a little bit different, but the thing is, right, if you compare it to, I think the best comparison is sand mining. But that's even a rough comparison because it's different with sand mining. You don't need sand and buckets of sand to get straight into content, right? You do that so you can get a glory, so you can get a fury, so you can get your Zenite jewelry. But you can still go do content without the glory, the fury, the Zenite. So it doesn't feel like you're being gate-kept mentally or held back by content because you don't have a high enough crafting level. But because you don't have enough runes, it makes more sense to just go to the shop and buy enough runes to do the content you want to do. And then when you're AFKing, spend time in the sky here to stock yourself up for the next version, for the next time you go to grind, right? So it just depends on how you want to spend your time. Ready to embarrass yourself on stream when you're available? No worries, we'll go through this blog and then we'll send it. So I'm about to go do cogs with it on. I've already got 12,000 blood runes just from grinding Barrows, so I'm good. But if I only had, 1,000 blood runes, I'd go buy some. Mostly because I can't make it yet. I'm 3 levels off. But even if I could make it, I'm not going to make it on stream, am I? I'm not going to sit there blood rune crafting. I'll just buy it and then I'll make them off stream. So this gives you more variety. This gives you a bigger opportunity to decide what you want to do with your time, how you want to spend it. It's going to be more expensive to shopscape, but you can get straight into the raid. Closing thoughts beyond the gameplay loop, the numbers we've shared, that there's not a whole lot to say about the content of the proposal. We'd like to take a moment to share some closing thoughts and some additional context that might address some lingering questions. Okay. Rune packs don't really solve the underlying issue that constantly world hopping, buying as much as you can, and competing with other irons. To be honest, competing with other irons isn't that big of a deal. I don't compete with irons very often. Do you know what I do? Okay, this is the thing is the whole argument about competing with other irons in shopscape. That's a shopscape problem. That's not Jagex's problem. Okay, Jagex doesn't need to touch that. Do you know what I do? If I'm trying to hot worlds and buy Astral runes and someone else is doing it, I hop in front of the cunt. I start buying their shops before they get to it. I find out what worlds they're on. I follow them. I hop a few worlds. I get in front of them. I start buying their runes out. It's a mental game. It's called having the bigger dick. Fuck that guy. That's the risk and the journey you take with shopscape. Okay, let people battle it out. Why not? How's shopscape a grind? It's just stupid. It's not a grind. But I don't think there's anything wrong with shopscape either. Toxic? No, it's called getting my fucking runes so I can get the hell out of there. That's what it is. Just sink the money. Why not? You're draining money from Ironman accounts. I don't think there's anything wrong with shopscape. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to fix shopscape either. I don't think it's a problem. I don't think I think if they add rune packs to the shops, they'll say that it's not solving the underlying issue. No, but it will help a lot of fucking people out. Adding rune packs to the shops will do nothing but positive things for the game. There's no negative impact to adding rune packs to the shops because people are still, even if you add this content, okay? I have a friend who doesn't fucking runecraft, doesn't skill. He hasn't done fucking Song of the Elves on his main. He hasn't fucking done half the content he should have on his main, and all he does is raid, Tob, TOA, Cox. All he does is raids. Do you think this is gonna fucking change that? No, he's gonna shopscape and he's gonna go fucking raid. People are still gonna do it. So, and that's totally fine. That's how some people are gonna play. That's how people just only want to play. People just want to do endgame content. So, adding rune packs makes their life easier. It doesn't affect the game at all negatively otherwise because main accounts aren't going to touch it. It's not going to touch the economy. Ironman are just going to fucking send those runes straight. They're going to delete the runes, right? What level should I do Canvas Rooftop until? I do it until I can do Fairly. I don't stick around Canvas Rooftop. It gives me brain cancer. Adding packs doesn't fix or solve shopscape. Just speeds it. I think it just helps people that want to just get the fuck into the content. Why not do both? Add the rune packs and add this rift. This rift thing seems fine in my opinion. I don't see a problem with it. We have an entire skill whose sole purpose is crafting runes. Neglecting rune crafting as a solution to this issue doesn't feel like the best approach to take from a game design perspective. That's understandable. But you've designed such good and engaging endgame content that people, pretty much everyone that does it except like maybe No Monkey, is really satisfied with consistently doing the content at the level that you provided it at. So do you blame people for wanting to not skill and just go straight into Tob and TOA? It's the best way to make money. This doesn't make people money, so people aren't going to want to do it, right? And that's not a problem. That's just the way the game's been designed. This is still totally fun to add to the game, but people aren't. You're not going to convince people to stop buying runes. People are still going to use the Grand Exchange 100%. Ironman are still going to shopscape if they want to get straight into the content. I will AFK this, but if I want to do something right now, I will go buy the runes. It's an iron update. Keep that in mind. Well, it's not an iron update. It is, but that's not. Like, keeping that in mind doesn't mean shit, Born. Like, you're just trying to consistently draw the point that it's for Iron Man. We get it. But that's not the sole purpose behind the update, right? Skilling can be tedious at high levels, though, too. It can be, but AFKing, that's the point of AFKing, right? Isn't Iron Man based on skilling? Iron Man is based on... Not based on skilling, but yeah, it's a big part of it. Dead content unreleased? This won't be dead content unreleased. Iron Man would use the shit out of this. Absolutely. This is great value. This is infinitely better value than Shopscape for an Iron Man. There's zero incentive for mains to do it. They're exclusively trying to fix an Iron Man issue. Well, yes, but they're not going, by the way, this is an Iron Man update. This is just like content in general. Like, that's the same thing with sand mining. But keeping in mind that this is an Iron Man update doesn't mean shit. Like, who cares? That's not a problem at all. This is infinitely more valuable GP wise than Shopscape. Absolutely. Does it make sense why Scythe hasn't jumped in price in the GE? Why would Scythe jump in price? It's another way for irons to get the runes. I don't see a problem. No, it's good. It's cheaper than shopscape. It just requires work. Sure, but that's the entire intent. Well, the entire intent is to the entire intent is to discourage people who hop worlds and shop, like hop and shop, which is predominantly Ironman. Main accounts don't do it because it's not worth the money. So but the argument that it's an Ironman update, like it's a weird thing to say. Like, who cares? You're just saying it like it's a bad thing, or like it's a point that needs to be addressed. It doesn't really need to be addressed. We get it. We see the point of the update, and I don't see a negative thing about this really. Like it's just there. It's just content, all right? Most players in the game, most long-term and committed players in the game are Ironman. Need to see the XP per hour. Some mains may see it as value. I don't think it's going to be that much better XP per hour. It won't be worth the time. 100% better to just buy runes from bots on the GE as a main though, right? Absolutely, yes. What else we got here? Ultimately, shops are probably a little too good, but they've been this way for years and years, so we feel it's better to work around shops and provide better gameplay-focused alternative. It should be both. The shop should be the option. The shop is the more expensive. Get your runes, get into the content. The Scar is the cheaper. They should honestly lower these prices. They should lower the, like, even if you just take fucking 50 GP off of these here, that won't really, as long as it doesn't affect the GE too much. If they lower these prices, people would be more inclined to do this over Shopscape even more, right? Because that is the base value of a blood rune, which means Soul and Wrath, you can't even buy Wrath. Soul's probably more, I think. Like, if they lower these slightly, only slightly, then you'll see more value in it over Shopscape. You'll make the time to AFK, right? Like you do AFK fucking Blood Essence. Makes runecrafting look almost pointless. Well, no, because you still got to do the runecrafting. You still have to have the level. You still want to have the outfit. You still got to take the essence to the altar, right? If you're going to do True Blood altar, which is the best way to do blood runes currently, you can get like, what, 12k blood runes an hour or something like that. You just do a bunch of extract, then you go and you make like ridiculously more, like a shit ton more. Like what, 10 times more blood runes an hour. You just have to spend a bit of time at to get scarred extract first. Once you do, you go True Blood altar and you fucking pull blood runes out your asshole. Like this is runecrafting on steroids. In the current game state, so what did you say? I forgot. Makes runecrafting look almost pointless in the current game state. Well, yeah, it kind of is. Yes, outside of like Guardians of the Rift. So if it's super AFK, then I'm all for this update. This will be AFK as fuck. Yeah, it should be, at least. It should be just like sand mining. Like the idea for this a lot for irons. I really like that they're taking an arena of Desert Treasure 2 and making it useful. Hopefully Lazar gets a similar update with how big it is. That'd be pretty cool, yeah. I was thinking that too. They should make them 150% G price. The G price always moves though. I think they should make these just a tiny bit cheaper. The cheaper these are, the more... Like, even if it's 10% cheaper, the more people are likely to use it over Shopscape. Because you still have to compete with how convenient buying from the shop is. I will be honest with you, in my experience, buying runes from the shop is not that competitive. It really isn't. It's not competitive to the point that I go, oh, fuck this, I'll do it another time. Like, it is not that hard to buy runes from the shop. So, you need to be able to make it a little cheaper, I reckon, still. It doesn't get bonus XP, no. Kind of, it doesn't. Probably good for Ultimate Ironman as they have to fuck around their invent when they want to do something, so less time for loads of runes would be good. Yeah, that's fair. I reckon 10% off the prices might be better, yeah. Do you plan to do some groupie activity today? I'm doing some cocks soon, but otherwise, no, not at the moment. Sorry, I'm trying to, let me get through this. Even though this approach is a tad more involved than making something like rune packs, it's still very light on time requirements for developers and artists, yep, so it won't adversely impact any of the other content we've got planned for the coming weeks. That's another good point too. It seems like they've got pretty much most of the, like, it looks pretty basic for them to implement into the game. So that's good, dev time wise. I think final verdict so far from what I've seen here, as I've pretty much just said, if these were slightly cheaper, like even just 10% cheaper, it would be more, it would drive more incentive to do it, because I know that means it might be questionable for Astral. Well, Astrals are cheaper anyway, but it might be questionable for maybe Deaths and Laws and Soul and Wrath. The cheaper it is here, without obviously touching the Grand Exchange, because you don't want it to be major profit, because this is going to shit runes into the game. If this is cheaper, you're going to disincentivize shopscape even more than you're already trying to, right? If that's the case in the stance that Jagex is trying to make, they should make this more encouraging. Either that or just maybe increase the runes by another 10, 15 or something, you know? I think these numbers look fine, but the fact that this is the flat rune blood price, this might even be the flat death rune price. What's the death rune go for? No, this is more than death rune. Death rune's 180. So, like, if you need death runes now, you're going to buy death runes. You're not going to go do this. This is if you're going to AFK and make a shit ton. But when you do it, you're going to make a fucking shit ton. So it's, I reckon if it was a little bit cheaper, you might find more people would use it. Definitely. Off topic, but King is the go-to creator for the amount he reads, chat, and answers questions. I try my best. Does it say anything about experience rates? No, I believe it's pretty much going to be just like your extract. One extract counts as one essence. So just assume it's a pure essence. Why add this? Because we have an entire school dedicated to crafting runes, so why not utilize that to increase quality of life related to runes? Look, it's a good point. Alternatively, instead of adding this, you could simply take the multiple runes here and, I don't know, maybe double all of them. Maybe add, like, blood runes, you get to 77, then there's nothing. Draw it all back, you know? Rework this table as well. This could be, like, so much better. This is terrible. Like, double laws, double deaths, that's shit. No one does death rune crafting because it's crap. That would fuck the economy, though. This doesn't. I don't think it really matters, to be honest. I don't think it'll fuck the economy that much. I think it'll be fine. Like, just rework the table. You really think double blood runes is going to fuck the economy? How many people on main accounts are doing blood runes right now for money? Are you doing it because it's AFK or because it's for money? Bots will fuck it. Bots will just bring the price of blood runes down. No one's doing blood runes for money at the moment. How much is a blood rune going for? Cheap shit is awesome. That's true. The cheaper the runes are, the cheaper it is for you guys. You guys aren't doing rune crafting for money, so who gives a fuck? If runes were cheaper, you'd be more inclined to use the scythe. If runes were cheaper, the scythe would be probably worth more. The same stuff might worth more. Someone said that earlier. I think that would be the case. They might go up. The scythe should go up, maybe. It depends on the vials of blood, and then it depends on the content, but the items should go up more. Chat still thinks it's worth crafting double nats. It probably is super long term. About to start working on iron crafting, buddy. I need that money. Send it. Then people are afraid to affect the economy, but we need to move the needle every once in a while. People are afraid to affect the economy when they haven't got any fucking money. Used to AFK them for money while playing a second account. Nah, not anymore. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Comment it down below and subscribe. That's a good video for people to watch. I know that Sebe has been very aggressive towards this idea. Do you guys want to watch what he has to say on that before we do Cox? Because I haven't seen the video yet, but I've seen that he's got a very anti, like, fuck this idea opinion on it. And some people have commented saying that it's quite heated. People are attacking him for it apparently too. I don't know, but we can have a look before we start the Cox run. This is the easiest room in the raid. It's quite simple. You got a big boy. Look at him, goddamn! Fuck me, look at that boy. It's huge! You got a big boy.